we will be starting slowly, waiting for a few people to join us. And we will start today from actually like a little introduction, like a little few concepts about our connection with each other globally, so we can then expand into meditation. And so, ITT, Natasha, Suzanne, Natalie, nice to see you. Okay. So please allow me to start with this introduction, because the whole meditation will take about 1 hour. But before we go into the meditation itself, I thought it's important to introduce the topic of interconnectedness of everyone with everyone. I wanted to show it to you from point of view of science and spiritual science. Okay? Those who already studied with me spiritual coaching, they have this seeds already in there, they're practicing. But because we are here for the reason to create conscious leadership on the planet. And so I really hope that this will encourage you to look at your purpose as a soul from a new perspective, and also will stimulate and activate your inner calling to create miracles and to bring projects to realize not only your dreams, because every dream is your spiritual purpose on this planet. And so I hope this will encourage you not only to realize your dreams, but also to look at them from perspective of impacting the humanity and your local community. Because when we start from ourselves and being true to ourselves, to our dreams within us, when we start walking on our spiritual path, with sincerity and openness and integrity, then we start to impact the people around us and local community and humanity as a whole. And so I really hope this will give just a little bit, like not a push, but like tick. So you say, okay, I'm brave enough now, I'm going for that. You know, so. And I'll prepare a little presentation for you. And so please, I will be really happy to share it with you. And I hope maybe you will share it also with your local community, or just contact me, happy to share with you the slides. Okay. So let me go into presentation straight in. So it has been my dream actually to create this portal from childhood, I think. I had this vision of having a place where all philosophies, all religions come together for discussion, for open sharing, for, you know, like around one big tree, where each branch represents consciousness, or the path towards higher self, and the trunk of the tree is actually your higher self, your integrity, your connection to yourself. And when we are connected to ourselves, truly, deeply, we know our calling and we walk our path with integrity. So during this next 2 hours, what we will do is we will actually have a little introduction about the vision of New Earth and our interconnectedness with each other, because I believe this concept has to become available to more and more people around us, because some of us already know it and practice or living in so-called 5D Earth.
However, some of us are still entering this understanding, this state of consciousness expansion that is happening. And so we will talk a little bit more about it. Then we will dive deep into the meditation, which will last about 1 hour. And after that, we'll do the self-coaching. So after meditation, be ready. So maybe you'll have a piece of paper, a pen, and we will be creating the creative plan of actions for our projects for humanity, for our local community, or for our own dreams being realized. So you're always welcome to visit Creators.Earth. We will be developing this portal slowly, including the podcasts, interviews, and free educational resources from leaders in conscious leadership in various segments like culture, farming, industry, business, social projects, etc., etc. So you're very welcome to join. And if you have your own podcast or project to share, please contact me. Together we're creating future and new earth with our vision. And so let me first introduce you the concept of interconnectedness. And I really like to approach it from the perspective of science first, because we all know from yoga, meditation, that we are one, we are connected. But to bring it to understanding of more people and those people who are not yet practicing meditation, it's good to have other perspective to include and to share with people. And I really like Rupert Sheldrake, whom I met personally, and his scientific concept of morphic field, or informational field, or Akasha in spiritual sciences. And today we will be going into Akashic field. And so let me share with you this quote of Dr. Sheldrake. Natural systems are morphic units at all levels of complexity. Atoms, molecules, crystals, cells, tissues, organs, organisms, and societies of organisms are animated, originated, and coordinated by morphic fields, which contain an inherent memory. Natural systems inherit this collective memory from all previous things of their kind by a process called morphic resonance, with the result that patterns of development and behavior become increasingly habitual through repetition. There is a continuous spectrum of morphic fields, including morphogenetic fields, behavioral fields, mental fields, and social and cultural fields. So what Dr. Sheldrake is sharing with us, that everything is interconnected in space and time. And whatever habit we create, including habit of thinking and acting, we impact the whole morphic field of humanity. So this is the first thought to take in, is that whatever habit we create in our mind of thinking or acting, we create the morphic resonance in the field of humanity. And let's dive deeper into that. I really wanted for you to discover another scientist, Dr. David Bohm, and his concept. And I try to unite various concepts in one, and that's why I'm introducing the term quanta field. So why do we use it? Let me explain a little bit. So quanta, or plural form of quantum, is the minimum amount of any physical entity involved in interaction. Quantization is a process of observation how energy and matter interact. Quantum physics explains the nature and behavior of matter and energy on the atomic and subatomic level, What is not commonly known is that the inventors of quantum physics, three great minds, Werner Heisenberg, Niels Bohr, and Erwin Schrödinger, introducing the science to public in 1920s, were great fans of Vedas, believing in correlation of their quantum physics experiments with concepts delivered in the Vedas. Nobel Prize winners Niels Bohr had great respect to the Vedas. He mentioned, I go into the Upanishads to ask questions. So why do we talk about this? Because as we study spiritual sciences, we realize this interconnectedness of the universe and we expand our mind. However, in common science, this fact is not accepted in the mind. So it's not public knowledge yet. Therefore, and as you remember, if we don't change the morphic field or informational field within the mind of each person, if we do not accept all of us this idea of interconnectedness, we cannot shift. We cannot create this shift in humanity for expansion. And the story of quantum physicists are the ones which actually connect spiritual science and science is quite fascinating. Very few people know that, for example, Schrödinger, he studied Sanskrit. And so he would be indeed studying the Vedas, the sources, and the ideas that were introduced there, he tried to confirm scientifically, and that's how quantum physics appeared. And as Lola Lhamo said, spirituality without quantum physics is incomplete picture of reality. So we are merging these two fields. The same way they were one many thousand years ago in Vedic period. And so David Bohm was an incredible person. I really highly encourage you to watch the movie about his work, which was presented in the end of last year, so quite recent, I think it was September. And I think this is one of the drops that actually increases this resonance within the society to deep understanding of our nature. And we as leaders, as the creators of New Earth, we need to keep carrying this message to more and more people because, we start from ourselves, but then the consciousness shifts for all of the humanity. So I really hope that this kind of few ideas will be carried further to understanding of more people. And so David Bohm, he believed in interconnectedness of the universe, truly, and he was a scientist. He was also one of the students and friends of Krishnamurti, which greatly impacted his work. So a couple of quotes here from him. So for you to also have to open the door to this field as well. So first quote, David Bohm said that ultimately the entire universe with all its particles, including those constituting human beings, the laboratories, observing instruments, has to be understood as a single undivided whole in which analysis into separately and independently existent parts has no fundamental status. So this is an interesting quote because David Bohm says that from individual perception, we need to expand into the whole, kind of giving a little hint to direction of thinking, direction of perceiving. Another quote, in some sense, man is a microcosm of the universe. Therefore, what man is a clue to the universe. We are enfolded in the universe. How beautiful is that? we are part of the universe. Yeah, we are the universe. The universe is within us. The big universe and the small universe within us are one. And one of my favorite quotes is this third quote: "We are all linked by a fabric of unseen connections. This fabric is constantly changing and evolving. This field is directly structured and influenced by our behavior and by our understanding." This is really deep quote, and David Bohm dedicated his life in bringing to science the understanding that everything is one field and each our thought impacts this informational field. So each person is responsible for creating informational field for all of humanity. Now, this is quite a revolutionary idea in the field of official science. However, you won't be able to hear it on public TV, because imagine this announce when somebody, the speaker says that, okay, your thoughts determine the reality. Now, this is science. This will probably create a lot of panic because people are not, many people don't have full awareness about the thinking process they have and the thousands of thoughts that pass through their mind. And once again, every thought we think determines the informational field for the consciousness of humanity. Continuing to understanding is quantum field is cosmic ocean of energy which created everything, including ourselves, our visual and sensory reality. It's our body, mind, and soul. It permeates everything, being highly conscious field. Quanta is continuously evolving in accordance with what we think create. We live in a quantum world of informational conscious cloud probabilities. And this is the term from quantum physics, cloud probabilities. There is no matter, there are clouds of probabilities. Everything is energy. And so we live in this world of informational, conscious, highly conscious cloud probabilities, which consist of dancing in cosmic rhythm, subtle energetic properties. We can't see them with naked eyes, but they are visible under a microscope and are also felt in our subconscious mind with senses that only we ourselves can distinguish. And usually this cannot be explained with logical mind. It's the movement of our intuition, the movements within our heart or guts, because we perceive this informational field with subconscious mind or superconscious mind. And so all of these cloud probabilities, highly conscious probabilities, all this creation are the working energies of quantum consciousness. And so we will touch upon our DNA and DNA strands to have deeper understanding of who we are actually, because if there is no physical matter, and we are not physical, this is science, because if you zoom into moleculars, atoms, proton, neurons, there is just space. Yeah, there is just this conscious cloud probabilities, which we then can direct with our intention. So what is DNA? The structure of our DNA are these conscious quantum fields. They're highly conscious because it creates your body or the energy body. It creates the world around you. The body knows how to heal because of quanta consciousness. Yeah, the body knows how to grow because of quanta consciousness of which you are created. The epiphysis is a locator of energetic properties that are distributed by the pineal gland and other systems throughout our body, filling us in with whatever has been received or created. These energetic properties, impulses or feelings are individual, however, are interconnected with the mind of the universe, all informational field around. And we impact this field every time the thought arises. How powerful our being is. You are created by this infinite consciousness field, and yet you can create. It's really beautiful. And so, continuing our exploration, we are composed of these quanta fields, atomic structures of highly conscious universe. We are highly conscious universe itself. We are created. Our body and mind are the cosmic world of quantum properties interconnected with other worlds of the universe and other galaxies too. Yeah, and that maybe that's why we behave strange sometimes, because we contain the information from all galaxies within our DNA. There is universe energy hologram, and we are part of it. We have the opportunity to travel through it, accumulating pure universe quanta energy properties. The same way we raise our vibration, our frequency, we can travel through higher frequencies, what we will be doing today in our meditation. But we are here in this body. At the same time, we can be anywhere in the universe because it's all within us, within our DNA. And there are very interesting facts linked to our DNA creating these time-space tunnels. Yeah, we'll talk about it. It's actually scientifically proven. So this universe quanta energy or field gives the possibility to purify the body of old stagnant energies by raising the frequency. This is helpful in treatment of diseases for ourselves and other people. Yeah, and this is how it works with Reiki and other energy fields or sound healing or meditation. We just raise our frequency and pure energy of universal consciousness, pure universe energy purifies us to the most harmonic state. Also, this universe quanta energy gives us superhuman abilities of pure vision due to connection to the higher informational centers. And this is how the gift of foresight and mind reading comes. I experienced this by myself, and I met highly realized yogis as well, Tibetan lamas, Taoist masters, other healers who were mind reading and speaking through the walls, etc. So these are not limited to these masters, as we call them. This is accessible for each person as soon as we activate the DNA strands, or we increase, or we awaken them, we increase the frequency within them. As soon as this awakening of dormant capacities is happening, we are naturally receiving these abilities, as well as ability to create the reality. Also, this quanta universe field gives the capacities to help others in the process of opening their energy channels to the universe quantum energy. Yeah, so what does it mean is surrendering, practicing of connection to the universe, practicing of receiving this energy, which we block by a lot of very often useless thinking, because when the mind is busy with thinking, we are not connected. When our mind is still, we naturally surrender to the flow of consciousness within our body from highly charged, high frequency universe centers to ourselves within our body. So every person has all these highly charged frequency energies within them, but they've forgotten and sleep inside the DNA atom and in their subconsciousness. We simply activate the process of awakening and connection of individual human mind, each by itself, and humanity as a whole. By changing our frequency, we change the energetic and quantum properties of our planet. And this is why we are here doing this meditation. Yeah. Because we will be raising the frequency ourselves, and we will be doing the work, the inner healing work for ourselves. And we will be creating a new reality for the planet with our vision. And the more people will join us in this journey, the quicker we will receive the realization. Yeah, so this is, we need to really start working towards that as one, and more group of people will join us for sure, will bring more success, because we need to create new earth together. We can't allow this new earth to be created by those with low ethics or low integrity. And once again, we impact the consciousness fields with our thinking. So we need to work more and more in not only meditating for ourselves, but also meditating for the whole of the planet. And so quantum field is informational canvas, the packets of light data the universe is made of, including human beings. We can access and explore this highly intelligent consciousness, same as we serve the internet, as everything is interconnected and interdependent. We can also code with frequency we aim to achieve. The secret of achieving our dreams is to create with frequency. This is really important because we are not able to create if our frequency is low. Yeah, so that's why for us also, if we want to realize our dreams, important is to start with raising the frequency to connect to higher self and to create from that place of high frequency and integrity. And this is the secret of creating our own reality. So let's look a little bit deeper into what is inherent within us, our DNA. And I really would like to change this perspective here because the DNA is informational blueprint and it's incredibly potent. So the more you work with higher frequencies, the more you reactivate, because within our DNA is the information of all galaxies. Yeah, so all dimensions, all galaxies, all consciousness is coded within our DNA. Imagine the incredible capacities within human being. Nobody teaches us at school this. Yeah. But probably you already experienced that possibilities. If your frequency is high, you can create something like coincidences happen, because we just wake up a little percentage hidden within our DNA. So we need to work more and more within this field. Yeah? And so DNA is blueprint of life. So why is it called like this? Blueprints are informational maps which direct the construction of buildings, and DNA directs the constructions of cells and organisms. So this is information from official science. DNA is an informational code that directs the development and functions of cells and organisms. Segments of DNA called genes codes for the formation of specific proteins. The complex information in the DNA regulates which proteins are made at which time and in what quantity. DNA determines to a large degree what a person will be like. Same as in construction, blueprint describes which material is to be used at which points and in what amounts. By looking at a blueprint, it is possible to determine what the building will look like when it is completed. DNA is called the blueprint of life because it contains the instructions needed for an organism to grow, develop, survive, and reproduce. And DNA does this by controlling protein synthesis, molecular machines. Proteins do most of the work in cells and are the basic unit of structure and function in the cells of organisms. The cells of all living things hence contain a blueprint in the form of a long, very long, billions of units long ticker tape that carries the code for the proteins. The DNA molecule is the tape, and the code for the proteins are bits of DNA called the genes. And I hope you already know this information, obviously, but I thought it's good to read it again. And so, however, only 10% of our DNA is being used for building proteins. What about other 90%? Funny enough, 90% of our DNA are still considered junk by official science. Yeah? And so this is interesting because it would be really difficult to official science to perceive and give formulation what are these 90% missing, because it cannot be explained, right? Same, what is black holes or what is dark matter? Yeah, because for example, the official physics excludes the dark matter from their calculations. Yeah, because it's impossible to its infinite capacity. So for you just also to understand that there are some limitations in the scientific perceptions. For example, like excluding 90% of information, what is DNA, or calling a large, I think infinite fields just dark matter and not including into mathematical calculations at all for official physics. Yeah, so I think in the new Earth, this will be the fields of studies and the fields of integrating this knowledge slowly and slowly, and this will also shift understanding of what is the nature of our reality and what is the nature of ourselves. So I really wanted to share with you this scientific research, which will connect you to deep understanding of what is DNA. And it states that DNA activates hypercommunication channel. What is that term from like futuristic movies? So the truth is that human DNA is a biological internet and superior in many aspects to the artificial one. DNA is not only responsible for the construction of our body, but also serves as data storage and in communication. When we consciously communicate with ourselves and our DNA, we activate so-called hypercommunication channel. It was scientifically confirmed that DNA can cause disturbing patterns in the vacuum, thus producing magnetized wormholes. Yeah, so just for you to give a little background, there was a scientific research when in the vacuum where placed the strands of DNA, and it caused within the vacuum two wormholes to be created. Wormholes are the microscopic equivalents of the so-called Einstein-Rosen bridges in the vicinity of black holes. And these are tunnel connections between entirely different areas in the universe through which information can be transmitted outside of space and time. The DNA attracts these bits of information and passes them on to our consciousness. Yeah, so what it means is that the presence of DNA helps to create these hypercommunication channels or wormholes, so-called wormholes, where you can travel from through space and time through this channel. So all these states of higher consciousness we experience by traveling through different galaxies, like yogis are doing, or traveling through time to our past lives, is all within our DNA. And so you are inherently having these capacities within yourself, within your DNA, and this is scientifically confirmed. Okay? So, however, there is the comment that this hypercommunication or this time traveling or this through galaxies is most effective in a state of relaxation. Yeah, so when we meditate, because if we try to do it in beta waves of our brain, logical mind, we will never be able to even perceive this idea of traveling through time and space. Yeah. So this actually explains the phenomena such as clairvoyance, intuition, spontaneous and remote acts of healing, yeah, like Reiki on distance, self-healing, affirmation techniques, unusual light and auras around people, mind influence on weather patterns, and much more. Because with our intention, with our informational impact, we can impact through time and space. There's a lot of capacities that are hidden away within our informational field and within our DNA. So I really would like you to feel these superhuman capacities within yourself, because it all starts with belief and understanding our true nature. Also, to give a little bit more scientific facts, you know about the scientific experiment when they took one atom of DNA, the same DNA, one atom was placed in one town, and another atom of the same DNA was placed in a big distance in another town. And so what the scientists discovered is, however they would be impacting the DNA in the town, instantaneously the atom of DNA on distance would be changing. So imagine this interconnectedness with everything, and we all share the same DNA. So just a little tip for you here also to take into your perception. We are all connected So whatever is impacted, whatever you create in here with your mind is impacting other people in distance, in time and space, not without time and space limitations. And so the key is the frequency. Once again, remember about it. DNA can be influenced and reprogrammed by words and frequencies. For example, a few scientific studies were done by HeartMath Institute, which is really a great source of all the innovative ideas in the field of superconsciousness, understanding our nature, which has a very beautiful name, a very long one, local and non-local effects of coherent heart frequencies on conformational changes of DNA. And so in this experiment, some human placenta DNA, the most pristine form of DNA, was placed in a container from which they could measure changes in the DNA. 28 vials of DNA were given to 28 trained researchers, and each researcher has been trained how to generate and feel feelings. And they each had capacity to generate strong emotions. What was discovered was that the DNA changed its shape according to the feelings of the researchers. When the researchers felt gratitude, love, and appreciation, the DNA responded by relaxing the strands unwound. The length of the DNA became longer. When the researchers felt anger, fear, frustration, or stress, the DNA responded by tightening up. It became shorter and switched off many of our DNA codes. Yeah. So you know this feeling very well. When you're in stress, you feel like you're switched off or you're tightening up. You're creating so much tension within your body. It actually happens not only on level of your physical body, it is also happening on DNA level. And many DNA codes and genes are actually becoming dormant because of this stress. So if you've ever felt the shut down by negative emotions, now you know why your body was equally shut down too. However, good news is that this shutdown of the DNA codes was reversed and the codes were switched back on again when feelings of love, joy, gratitude, and appreciation were felt by the researchers. These emotional changes were beyond the effects of electromagnetics. Individuals trained in deep love were able to change the shape of their DNA. This energy appears to be a tightly woven web that connects all matter. Essentially, what this research is telling us is that we are able to influence our DNA, this web of creation, through our thoughts, frequency, and the level of vibration, yeah, higher, lower. So I really hope that this will give you the basis, the foundation, and will impact the logical mind and will impact your intention to work more on developing positive thinking, because negative thinking and poor awareness of our thought process impacts our health, first of all. Yeah. And also, as we know, we are interconnected. It also impacts the whole of humanity as well, yeah, because this is informational field. So please remember about it. And when, however, you feel these negative emotions, know that you're damaging your body. Whenever you feel tightening up, work towards raising the frequency, towards releasing this tension with positive thinking. And prayer and meditation for the well of all humanity is one of the best methods for that. And I studied mind yoga with Tibetan Lama in Buddhism. It's part of every meditation. They expand to wish well for all of humanity, because when we share our love, when we share our gratitude, when we share our light with others, we receive more. Our frequency is rising. We will be practicing this today in our meditation. And a few words also about our biofield, because human biofield or quantum field is an aura of conscious energy that surrounds and overlays our physical selves and interacts with our mind, body, and spirit and environment around us. Frequency of your DNA impacts your biofield, your aura, and your energy bodies. Your quantum field is perceived by other beings, informing them how to think and act towards you. It is also perceived by the universe, informing it in further co-creative process of evolution. So we choose our own lessons by our frequency. And so whatever is your frequency, the same experience will come to you. So once again, this is important about raising the frequency, the power of positive thinking. And for you to understand also the power of our intention, the power of our thinking, the power of our frequency raising process. There is another fact from science and from research of Dr. Vladimir Poponin, who actually experimented with DNA particles which were placed in the light, in the vacuum filled with light particles. So what they discovered that the photons, particles of light in vacuum align and come to order in accordance with DNA. So the nature of the whole reality, photons, particles of light, come in order in accordance with the DNA. How incredible is that? You are creating the reality with informational field contained within your DNA. You create your reality with your thinking process and the information that you put into your DNA. It's really beautiful. The power is within you. And so, how do we do that? How do we shift from being a thinker to the master of reality? Yeah. To understand it, this is information from Neuroscience. There are 3 levels the neuroscience talk about. It is the physical body, emotional body, and the mental body. So how does it work? When you start thinking a thought, the thought arises from perception of reality, from your senses. So when you start thinking a thought, your brain doesn't care what kind of thoughts you're thinking, because positive or negative, your brain is just the mechanism. The mind is beyond your brain. Yeah. Your mind, your thoughts are not arising from your brain. The brain is just a muscle, a part of the organism structure, which creates the further informational chains within the body, within your being. So when the thought arises, what is happening is that your brain generates neuropeptides, informational web. Yeah? These neuropeptides go to your glands, and the glands generate specific hormones depending on what thoughts you're thinking, positive or negative. And these hormones are being distributed through the body. These are chemicals, and these chemicals are sitting within the body. And when one time this chemical from thought was generated, it sits in your body and it demands again the same cycle. So, what is happening is that if you had any traumatic experience or any kind of subconscious belief given to you by society or parents, once generated as an informational connection, it stays within your body for the whole life, unless you want to recode it, and it's possible. Yeah. And so that's what is known as emotional loops or thinking loops, because we are staying always within the same cycle of thinking, within the same cycle of chemistry within the body. Yeah. So the way to change that cycle, the way to stop living in the past and start moving towards our dreams is to think differently, to feel differently, and to act differently. And this comes as a habit, first of all. So you need to decide first to do this. And then you need to continue your work for at least 21 days. 21 days is usually when the habit is created. 60 to 90 days is when it becomes your life. No? So let's dive a little bit more deeper into that. So how do we actually start achieving success? How do we actually go towards the dreams? No more living in the past. Yeah. So scientists discovered every day we think 60 to 70,000 thoughts, and 90% of them are the same. We literally live in the past every day, living same old life every day, 90% of all time, thinking the same thoughts. Yeah, so that's why no change is coming. Yeah, because we don't dedicate enough time to creating this change. Step 2, you need to have clear vision of the future. And now ask yourself, do you have clear vision of your future? Do you actually know what are your dreams? Do you actually have the vision bigger than yourself? Start growing, to start developing ourselves as human beings, to start realizing our spiritual purpose on the earth, to start shifting consciousness within ourselves and of all of humanity, we do need to have vision bigger than ourselves. Yeah, because otherwise we just live in the past 90% of time. Step 3 is to create new reality every day. Scientists discovered that when people learn one bit of information, they double number of neural connection in the brain from 13,000 to 26,000. But if this information is not reviewed or repeated, circuits are pruned apart in hours. Yeah. So this is why it's so important not only to say, okay, I'm changing my life, I am starting to learn new language, I'm starting to realize new project, but it's important to have persistence. Because if you do not repeat, you will forget. Yeah, so what you created in your intention is dissolving. What is not well known, and this is quite fascinating, is that creativity develops frontal lobe part of the brain. which is actually 40% of the brain. The rest of the brain is responsible for automatic functions. So imagine now that. So 90% of time you're thinking about the past. And 90% of your time you're using 60% of your brain, or maybe less, even somebody will argue, because we just activate 5 to 10% of the brain, the human being. So it means that we just do not activate ourselves to full capacity, which is dormant within us. And so creativity, and just the question, what if I create new life? What if I go for this project? What if I visit this place? What if finally I start to realize my dream? Activates the frontal low part of the brain and you start to create. Yeah. And so this is incredible. Creative centers fires new brain connections to appear. You develop your brain with creativity. And this is really, really important to remember. So dedicate your time to creative actions, whatever it is. Create your new reality. Become a creator because you are a creator. And step 4 is raising the frequency. It's quite simple actually to do, is because embodying new you means acting, feeling, and thinking like new you. The best way to do it is actually writing, because actually when you're writing, you are activating the frontal low part of the brain, the creative center. And it's not typing, unfortunately. Yes, everybody is moving towards mobile phones and computers. It is writing. So do have your diary and write things that you're going to do and choices that you will make. And we will be doing this today. Is to have this creative plan of actions for each day. Have this diary to record the poetry of the moment. So it's really powerful tool for you to activate your creative center and to rewire your brain. When you create your new reality, describe what joy you're going to feel. Yeah, it's important is to actually feel it, because if we're just acting without feeling, we will never reach our aim. Raise your frequency and think from this place of inner power and harmony. And this is something that is not a practice in Western world in most of companies. But when I was in India, they start all the important meetings, corporate meetings, seminars, conferences with prayer or chanting or meditation, because you cannot think clear without this. Yeah. So when you raise your frequency, you think, when you start your activity with good intention, with the feeling of gratitude, with the feeling of how beautiful will be the result, you create the field for this activity. And when you think from this place, things appear exactly the same way you felt it. And so I think from this place of higher frequency, from the place of inner power and harmony. And another tip for you, and we will be doing this today also, if you want to create your reality and to achieve the dreams, it is usually obtained in the state of high frequency through connection to higher self. And this is really important to realize. Like branches on the tree, they all lead to the trunk of the tree. The same is any teacher leads us to inner guru within ourselves. There is no higher teacher than your higher self. We are multidimensional being existing in many planes of the universe. As a soul, we've chosen to manifest in Earth's realm to experience this dimension. Yet in our DNA, there are informational pathways to connect to any other dimension of the universe by our wish. Very often people forget that their soul is intergalactic being, infinite consciousness, and limit themselves to experience of just beautiful Earth's life, which is of course their choice. However, when reminded about higher self, we expand beyond just one dimension, becoming one with the higher realms of our and universal consciousness, which helps to upgrade our vision and find solutions from other perspective. Practice of connection to higher self is daily practice of coordinating your life moves with more holistic, expanded perspective, rather than making choices from the place of being limited and all emotional baggage that comes with it. Please integrate it to your daily decisions. And it's really simple to do it. Is once again, before you start any important activity, before you go to any important meeting, before you start your day, start with gratitude. Gratitude and connection to higher self. Start with high frequency and you will achieve things which vibrate on high frequency. So this is truly important to remember. And so what are we going to do today? What we will do today is actually, first, we will practice so-called quantum meditation. We will be raising the frequency of our being to expand, connecting to higher self. After we did that, you will feel what will be happening with you. Yeah, because it will take 1 hour. It's going to be full immersion into meditation. So then we will connect with higher self and allow this higher self to upgrade your DNA, surrendering to this flow of highly conscious, highly charged energy. Yeah, what we're doing is we're just surrendering. Because when we stop our thinking process, yeah, we unblock this flow, this natural flow of energy. Because consciousness is everywhere around us. We just need to allow it, surrender to it, like highly conscious chi in Qigong or prana in yoga, yeah, or life force. Very rarely we actually surrendering to this process, just observing this high consciousness which created us to do the healing work. And so we will be surrendering to this natural life force, this universe energy. After that, we will be looking at task, goal, and dream you would like to achieve. We will be looking at it from perspective of high spiritual purpose, so from perspective of your spirit, galactic spirit. Then we will be looking at it from perspective of actually what your spirit decided to do for this life on planet Earth, for humanity. Yeah, and it's quite beautiful exploration. So your spirit always has that something that it wants to realize in this life, and it's always linked to the work we're doing as a humanity as a whole. So we look from that perspective, and then we look also at what we could do as a conscious leader on the level of local community. And trust me, when you are realizing your true dream, when you're really going for that, you are impacting local community, you are impacting humanity as a whole. Just by your happiness, because you're realizing your dream by living in accordance with your vision, your spiritual vision. By this happiness and joy you experience, you're already shifting the consciousness field. Yeah. So that's why it's so important to stay true to your call. What we will do today is also during meditation, we will move ourselves to the future where these dreams have been achieved already. So we will just go through space and time and we'll see it happening. And it's important to feel them fully with all emotions. Feel them fully with all body senses, yeah, because it's all informational, it's all chemistry, we are reprogramming it. We also need to feel the frequency of this dream happening. So when you see your dream happening, feel it fully. Upload to yourself this frequency of success, and you will have it within your field, and your dreams will come alive much quicker than you even could imagine. Because very often we limit ourselves saying, oh, okay, this is impossible, but it's too big dream, it's beyond me. But why do we limit ourselves? We do it from our own perspective. The universal consciousness has many ways for us. We just need to surrender. We need just to formulate, to feel what dream we would like to fulfill, and then act towards it, and we will be supported by the universe. So we will be also experiencing that future where dreams coming true. And then from that point of future self, we will look through time and space on our present self. And we will be sending this frequency to ourselves. And we will be uploading this new frequency to our DNA, receiving it, reprogramming our DNA. Yeah, because we create with frequency. We will also receive suggestions from our future self to present self, yeah, because sometimes it's something to change within the self practice, some inner capacities, character. Um, Sometimes it's just making actions, the actual actions. And so from that point of high frequency, we will be creating a creative plan with list of action, starting from future to now, step by step. So this is an important tip here, because actually what we're doing is we are not walking from now to the future. We are walking from the future to now. Yep, step by step. And I will be explaining this to you after meditation. We'll be doing it together. Okay? So this was a little introduction of the vision, and I hope you enjoyed it. Because I really wanted to share with you a few concepts. It's just little drops for you, because you can dig deeper into them.
And I'm happily sharing on a deeper level. If you're interested, we can have discussion. Okay. So always happy to support you on this journey. And from theory to practice. So I really would like you to settle in uncomfortably. You can sit or lie down, you know, for meditation, because meditation lasts about 1 hour. So it's up to you what feels comfortable to you. And also have a piece of paper and some pens near you. So when you wake up, you don't walk too far away.